Welcome back to Return the Disc for part 7 of the Friday 13th movies, The New Blood. Joining me, as always, is Paul, maybe? Paul was here from Twin Flicks to talk about The New Blood. Um, I think we have a guest again, Jason Voorhees. You're alive and well, as we saw in part 6. Coming into part 7, what are your motivations as a character in The New Blood? What does that even mean, the new blood? Do you have any hopes or dreams of having a family? That's a very tiny knife. Did you happen to lose your machete in the woods? All right, I'm going to go to single cam and probably do this review myself. And I'm going to start off this, as always, with my... Oh my gosh. I forgot, guys. I was so distracted by Jason. But I'm gonna start with my out of context rundown.
Go away.
Recap.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
The series.
Go away,
wait,
Jason.
I hear Paul.
Okay.
All right. I think Paul might be back.
Sorry.
There he is, Paul from Twin Flicks.
All you have to do is pull off his mask and say, "Get out of here, Jason. Get out of here," and he leaves.
Just don't go to his grave when there's lightning, and don't bring the mask, as we learned in part 6. But welcome back, Paul. Thanks for being here. Let's get to my out of context rundown.
I didn't have a choice.
Recap of the series with a voiceover. A daughter's wish come true. Awkward camcorder matchbook therapy. Emotional telekinesis. That ain't your daddy. Knife to the neck and spine. Military flare. Creepy party for Michael. Firewood tag. Big hunk Dan. Sleeping bag to the tree. Throwing rocks into lake romance. Formal invitation skinny dip to your death.
Heck yeah.
Need a little touch up, work my ass. Oh, she looks into the mirror. Need a little touch up, work my ass. Screaming girl killed in shed. Come on, Michael, crush. Come on, Michael, skull crush. Party horn through the eye. I've been rejected by some of the finest science fiction magazines in the country. Head in bed, through the window to the trail. Will anybody listen this time? Supersized weed whacker therapy. Dead bodies in the woods for your amusement. Jason vs. Carrie. Zombie Jason haunting a house. Gasoline shower. And another boat, bullet, and vision. All right, Paul,
start mine here?
Official rundown, totals, and all that.
Here we go. Buckle up. We have one zombie Jason. We have the double B's, boobs and bush this time. Stabbing through the neck, nailed to a tree, metal spike implant. Let's start over. Okay. So my totals are one zombie Jason. We have the double B's, boobs and bush this time, stabbing through the neck, nailed to a tree, metal spike, impalement to the back, punch through the back, coming out of the chest, otherwise leaving a hole in the front of the chest. Neck breaking, sleeping bag bashing, which I'll get into it later in the review because it's infamous, this scene.
Is it?
Machete, okay. Yeah. Machete to the face, circular saw to the abdomen, throat slash corpses, axe to the brain pan, head crushing, party noise maker, shove through the eye, machete to the neck, thrown through a second-story window, and of course, a decapitated head. We also have electrocution, strangulation, nail gun shooting, and gratuitous telekinesis.
That's true. There's so much telekinesis in this that I think we should just start there because it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I get the idea that she can move things and she's being studied by this creepy therapist that her mom hired, which I thought was her dad early on. And I was like, okay, he's just some weirdo therapist, but yeah, it's like they wanted Carrie, because I mentioned Carrie versus Jason. That's what it felt like. When they had the showdown at the end, when they're facing each other, like,
Yeah.
okay, so she's so strong with the force or telekinesis or whatever they want to call it. Because there was a little bit of Star Wars where like, move the matchbook. Can you move the matchbook? It's kind of like Obi-Wan and Luke type thing. And it didn't work for me. I was like, what is this movie? I don't know. It was I guess it was something different, but I don't know. What did you think about telekinesis?
Well, I think it's just stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
First of all, I mean, we pick up right where 6 left off with Jason chained to the paper mache boulder underneath the water, and he's just floating there. He's still alive because he's a zombie. And then suddenly this, did they even show her in part 6? Because all of a sudden this girl just runs out of the cabin crying, and her dad's trying to call her back to comfort her, and she gets on the canoe or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden it shows a close-up of her face going like, and then and then the pier starts shaking and breaking apart, and she ends up killing her dad.
It's so bad because the shaking is like something out of like, I don't know. It's so badly done.
It's awful. It kind of looks like a miniature, but not. I mean, it's weird. And what's funny too is that while she's doing this, she knows her dad's in danger, and she did this to scare her dad. And she keeps going like, looking like she's determined to hurt her dad. But then all of a sudden it does this hard audio cut where she's something like, "Daddy, no, Daddy." And I can't help but think that was an editing choice. Like, you didn't want to make her be this evil kid. And so they're like, oh, we got to, put in that she cares about her dad. But the whole thing is just stupid.
Yeah, it is.
And it just comes completely out of nowhere. And then later on, she accidentally uses it to bring Jason.
She can't. She thinks that's her dad or something. Yeah, at one point, I'm bringing my dad back, and then, oh no, it's somebody in a hockey mask.
Yeah. And did they even explain why her mom is taking her back to Camp Crystal Lake with the psychiatrist? Was it to like wake up her telekinesis powers even more, going back to
was to run tests, because they had the camcorder, which was hilarious. I was like, what are they trying to make here? Like a little adult movie or something? Because
he looks like he was.
Yeah,
because that guy is creepy.
Yeah, I know.
And then it's like, so are they saying that she developed her telekinesis powers awakened after Jason was thrown into the lake? It doesn't make any sense. And it goes back to what we said on the last video. You just have to not think about it.
Caution to the wind.
Don't ask questions. Don't think about it. Just roll with it. And you
definitely have to roll with this one. This one is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. Like, again, I said before, I always mix up 6 and this one. And so now rewatching it, it's definitely not my favorite. It has some cool kills, but it's not my favorite.
Right.
Kane Hodder is also his first appearance as Jason. And he played Jason. He's been playing Jason ever since. If you guys don't know who he is, he's a special stuntman, special effects stuntman. And
I think he's a little bigger than previous Jason, right?
Which they needed for him being a zombie. I mean, because he's bulky, he's got the build, definitely got the build.
I mean, now we're seeing like bones of Jason.
I was just going to say that,
like the kneecaps. He's kind of decaying, but he's also, I don't know. It's just he's getting gross looking.
Did Tom Savini work on this one too, or was he gone after 4?
I think he was gone again.
Yeah. Because the makeup effects on Jason are great. Like what you were saying, when he gets up and he starts walking and you see the cameras from behind him showing him walking, and you see you see his spine and his muscles and his bones, and it looks like it, what do you call it? Decomposing.
Yeah. Decomposing.
All the decomposing flesh, and you can see some mold from being underneath the water for so long. I mean, it's great. I love the makeup effects for Jason.
Let's see.
And that's all. See you guys next time.
Well, there's one of my favorite scenes was probably when that screaming girl was running around. She goes into the shed. I like that chase scene a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I like the sleeping bag kill. That was kind of funny to me. Just throwing a guy in a sleeping bag against a tree. A lot of the kills, though. What's that?
I was going to ask if we want to talk about the sleeping bag now, or
was that the infamous scene?
Yeah. So this is, anybody who's a fan of the franchise knows how infamous this scene is, because in this theatrical cut, she was only hit once on the tree, and she was hit multiple times over and over again. So Jason's just like whacking her against the tree over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
To the point where he's like the sleeping bag becomes all bloody and stuff. So everybody knows this franchise knows is that number 7 is the movie that was the heaviest with gore. And I wrote it down so I won't forget everything. But it's the most heavily censored out of the series for violence and gore. They had to submit it 9 times for it to scare an R rating.
Wow.
Otherwise, it was slapped with an X. And you can definitely tell, because there's certain kills where it does a hard cut to Jason's face, like when I think there's a part where he's crushing the guy's head, where he grabs the guy's head, standing over him, grabs the guy's head, starts crushing it, and all of a sudden does a hard cut to just a close up of Jason, but yet you still hear the sound effects of
the party guy.
Yeah, and so you can tell when they cut the gore out with these hard cuts, because they always go to a close up of Jason's face when he's killing them. And so the sleeping bag, this is, I mean, you can actually find the footage on YouTube of the uncut sleeping bag. Yeah, and I believe they showed it on the documentary, Crystal Lake documentary, and so it's out there and it was filmed. And for the longest time, the director, ever since this came out, the director's been wanting to do a director's cut, an uncensored version, but Paramount won't do it. But yeah, I mean,
I'll have to look that up. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, I should still be on YouTube. And I know I've watched it on YouTube, but I don't know if it may, with YouTube's guidelines now, it may be off. I don't know. Who knows? But it is. I think there was also a deleted scene. I think it might also be in deleted scenes, if it has deleted scene, because I remember I had a Blu-ray that had it on there as a deleted scene, but I don't know.
One of the things I had a problem with, though, was some of the kills were like too quick, or like he just had like one tap and their ear fell off, or or they,
he attacked him with leprosy.
Yeah, they're like he's like too powerful on some
level.
Well,
yeah, and that could go back to the way it's edited, but like I said, the sleeping bag, it's just one knock and she's dead, and it shows a reveal of her dead.
That's true. I guess that's probably why then.
Yeah, when the uncensored version, he's just like bashing her against the tree like multiple times, and then the reveal is more graphic too. Like the camera stays on her longer.
It's interesting now. I think that'd be fine now, right? If they had that for rated R.
Yeah, because what year did this come out? Was it 88? 87, 88?
Somewhere around there.
And the 80s was, I think 87, 88, 89 was when Tipper Gore was having that huge thing about parental gangster rap and parental guidance on music, and they were doing the same thing with movies being too graphic and too violent, and they're making my kids want to kill each other type. It's just ridiculous. Watching the Eyeball of Satan, the TV called the Eyeball of Satan. So I think they really cracked down hard and on harder. Hard on it.
I can get over that now then, because I was kind of disappointed with like the one tap kills. So I was like, this doesn't seem right. But now that I know that, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but like you said, if they made it today, they would get away with it. They'd be able to do it.
Oh yeah,
times have changed. What was interesting, I didn't think this was directed as well
No.
either. And one reason for that is that the director was a special effects guy,
Okay.
and this was his first movie that he directed. So it's kind of like special effects guy comes in and directs a movie, and you can tell it was a first time director and didn't really know what he was doing. Because it definitely doesn't start out as an energetic
No.
as 4 or 6.
That
It's
voiceover
really,
is so boring, and
it's so boring.
it was like another recap. Oh,
yeah. Another recap, which they don't need, but and the narrator is like this old guy, type voice. It's just
didn't work.
And it does not work. And I think one of the problems is that since he's a special effects guy, he was focused more on special effects and getting these gory kills than he was on actually directing a good movie when it pertains to Jason movies. A good movie. And so I think that might have been the issue there. Like
there is some sleaze in this one. Like you mentioned the water scene, Bush and boobies.
Yeah, first time in a Friday 13th where you saw Bush. Not George Bush, the other Bush. That'd be hilarious if George Bush was there.
Oh man, yeah, just sitting there on the side drinking a beer.
His head.
I'm in the wrong place. The weed whacker. The weed whacker was like insanely sized. What a blade on that thing.
Yeah.
And again, they didn't. I guess now I know why they didn't. They probably shot a scene where he was cutting up the therapist, but they didn't show it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Everything that you thought was too simple is because they edited it.
Yeah. So I'm with the director. Then I'd love to see a director's cut someday if they ever. It'll never happen, but
it'll never happen.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
How did the footage get leaked? Then did somebody leaked it online or?
Well, like I said, I don't know about the other scenes, but I know I seen the sleeping bag, and I think it was on the deleted scenes on one of the Blu-rays. I don't know if it's on this one. It might be on an earlier one, but they had deleted scenes of it. But it's also in the documentary, so it's widely out there. It's not like they try to bury it.
Okay.
But try to look it up on YouTube and check it out. But yeah, you definitely talking about that documentary. After watching all these movies, you definitely have to check out the documentary
for sure.
Yeah. This also holds the record to this day as the longest one shot of a stuntman on fire. There's no cuts; it's all one shot.
Wow!
And they talk about this in the documentary. Kane Hodder actually talks about this in detail. That 40 seconds on fire. And usual time is, just a couple seconds. And so he still holds the record to this day as the longest stuntman on fire in a movie.
Wow.
And again, the fire was real. No CGI crap here. It was all real. Which, again, as I said in the 6th movie, you can tell.
It's unheard of now. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no way somebody would set someone on fire now. But and you can always tell, and it takes you out of the stunt. Completely takes you out of the stunt when you see
it really does.
CG fire. You don't all that. I mean, you don't feel this way for Jason about any kind of, but it takes all sympathy away from somebody who catches themselves on fire when it's CG. I mean, I guess you could feel sympathy for Jason, but
well, it just looks cool on camera too. Having this, zombie monster type Jason now on fire. It just cinematically, it's cool,
especially at night.
Yeah, at night.
Yeah. But yeah, this is definitely not my favorite
the best one. No.
I mean, if you were to, well, yeah, I was gonna say if you were to pit 5 versus 7, obviously 7's going to win, but
yeah,
that's why I'm like, well, no, but yeah, I mean, I still think 4 and 6 are the best.
I will say the one of the really big negatives too on this one was the score didn't really work for me on this one as well.
Yeah.
I thought it was overproduced. They
Yeah.
added like so many noises and just overproduction of, I don't know. It's just better, like we talked about before, having it, the whole goes back to like less is more.
Yeah,
Having,
exactly.
the effect of Jason and the audio effect, a couple times is more effective than over and over like they do in this film.
Hmm.
Particularly during the cabin scene, I feel like they did the cha cha or whatever, the kill 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 effect way too much.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think a couple things hurt this movie was hiring a visual effects artist who has no experience in directing to direct this one. The music, like you were saying, was overly used way too much, too heavily. Um, and they focused too much on the kills rather than other things. And that's, I mean, you think to yourself, well, it's a Friday the 13th movie. What do you want? This isn't Gandhi.
But the thing is, unfortunately, they couldn't use the kills in their true form, right?
Yeah,
Because they had
yeah,
to edit them
exactly.
down. So
Exactly. But still, even though you're there for the kills, it's good to see good direction, good acting, and that's what this really lacked was good direction and good acting. Because the acting really suffered in this one too.
oh yeah,
And what's funny is that 6 didn't have good acting, but it was, I don't know, it was, you already know the movie was goofy. And so the acting played into that. In this one, they took it a little too seriously.
like that kid, he's like, he finds out that the girl is like just leading him on in bed or whatever. They just like
Yeah.
kiss a little bit, and she's like, "I'm not interested anymore." And then he's like, "Fine, I've been rejected by so many science fiction magazines or something." It's just something crazy.
Like, where the hell did that come from?
It was hilarious, but yeah, it was bad. It was bad acting.
Well, it's like the line doesn't even make any sense
I think
pertaining to
the
the scene.
therapist too. He was talking to the camera guy. He's like,
Yeah.
"No film school for you, Billy," or whatever. You're like, it's
okay. It makes no sense.
That was random.
Yeah, like the lines just don't make any sense to it pertains to in the scene. I mean, if they would have established the guy was maybe a writer earlier and then maybe it would have made more sense, but it just comes like these lines just come out of nowhere and it's just so funny. But yeah, I think that they did take this one trying to play into the telekinesis too seriously.
Yeah,
they didn't seem to have as much fun making it as they did at 4 and 6. And so yeah, I mean this, and again it did the same thing with like 4. Everybody loved 4, and so they're hyped to go see 5, and they're disappointed at 5. Same thing with this one. Everyone was hyped. They loved 6. Everyone was hyped for 6. I'm gonna go see 7, and then it's just like, oh. So it's kind of like, it was kind of the downfall of the Friday 13th movies. And
this one made about the same amount of money as 6, or was it a little more?
I think it was a little bit more.
Okay.
But we'll talk about this in part 8.
Enough to get a sequel.
Yeah, well, yeah. Part 8 is what put the nail in a coffin for Paramount and put the movie to bed, which we'll talk about when we do that video.
Okay, that'll be next
time. Yeah. So that's it.
That's all I have to say about that. You're all good? All right, that's all I have to say.
No, wait.
Me too, man. Me too. I, just not as good. Oh, it's down there with 5, 2, and 3. And it's in that mix.
Yeah.
Just doesn't quite get to the 4 and 6 level. And of course, 4 and 6 are not as good as the first one, in my opinion, still. So, but we're gonna rank it later down the road. But we want to hear from you guys. Anybody big fans of the New Blood out there? That's what it's called, right? Yep, the New Blood, Part 7, Friday the 13th, the New Blood. Let us know if you're a big fan out there in the comments below, and be sure to follow Paul at Twinflix in the description. There's all the links.
Wait,
and
real quick before we go,
yeah,
why do you think they chose that title, New Blood?
They were trying to launch this chick as a telekinesis character, possibly. That's all I can come up with. Like, she's sort of that connection with, maybe he gave, like you said, maybe Jason gave her powers or amplifies her powers.
Or related to her some way, maybe. I don't know.
Or it was just a cool title.
Who knows? It's probably just because it's a cool title, but I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, I was just wondering what you thought of the subtitle. All right, guys.
All right, yeah. See us next Friday night, and you never know who might show up.
What do you mean? No! I'm getting away really slowly, like they do in the movies. No!
Paul. All right. We'll see you next time.